The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter @wreckingandracing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season. We are here at the 1 Mile Concrete Dover International Speedway. Brandon has qualified on the outside of the front row. We struggled a bit in qualifying. As you can see, we're back here in the middle of the pack, but I think it'll be okay. We have 40 laps with a pit stop about halfway, and we'll see where we shake out in the grand scheme of things. Getting ready for the green here. Green flag should be in the air shortly, and green, green, green. Behind Joey Logano, back up to speed, trying not to spin the tires here at Dover. Very easy to spin the tires on the concrete with little to no grip. We'll ride the high lane. There is the Penske teammate of Ryan Blaney going to our inside. Logano pushing that 21 car of Paul Menard pretty hard. We'll dive to the inside here and get to the bottom, and we should roll this bottom really well. The way this track sort of feels, it's like Bristol's bigger cousin. The bottom groove is the way to go. You'll make up a lot of speed there. The top is pretty competitive if you can get to the outside there, but just when you have fresh tires, drive off is the name of the game. Brandon settling in third there, and it looks like Denny Hamlin will take the point. Now, Denny is not in the playoffs in this alternate reality, so Denny is leading some laps, but it'll be all for naught if he wins. But Alex Bowman looks to be having a good, solid run there. He unfortunately was eliminated after the Roval, so he needed to do a little bit more work. Brandon's trying to make that top line work, and it looks like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick are here in front of us, also making that top work. We've got pretty good drive off here. We can get right behind that 18 M&M's Camry and then dive to the inside. Looks like Austin Dillon may be choking up the bottom groove here. We'll sort of have to bide our time here. 3 wide is not really permissible here unless you really, really mean it. But I think we should be able to clear the 4 once Kurt Busch gets going. Now, it looks like he's sort of stalling out. The high line is starting to carry that momentum on the outside groove. We need the 41 to really put his foot down. Kyle Busch is hanging there on our rear quarter as well. We need to push Kurt forward here a little bit. Come on, Kurt. Yeah. Looks like we've got a sort of a rolling roadblock. We can try to split the middle. We scared Harvick just a bit to roll out. And now that we're side by side, we should be okay as long as Kurt doesn't bottleneck us on the bottom. Harvick rolls out and gives us the position. We'll settle back single file. And now we can set our sights on that 41. We've made up some ground, just like a Bristol or, say, a plate track. We've hugged the bottom and passed that entire outside line by now. If they weren't able to get in line, that's where the problem will go. Backwards they go. Now, we're kind of taking care of our tires here. It is a long ask to go 20 laps on 3 times tire wear, but we've got a good run under the 41 here. Looks like Kurt will roll and give us the spot. Harvick will fill up that gap as well. And next is the 9 of Chase Elliott, who is unfortunately eliminated after the Roval as well. So a bunch of guys having good runs. A race too late, and that's unfortunate to see, but like in real life, the Roval is a great equalizer. No, we didn't need that wall anyway. All right, we'll put the throttle down, stay right here on the bottom. We're hugging the bottom really, really well and making up some ground. Looks like the 9 is going to put the 3 to the outside. Let's push Chase a little bit further. He slowed up quite a bit on corner entry, killed our momentum. We can run that bottom as hard as we can, sort of make Chase go a little faster, put some pressure on him, dive into the corner just a little bit harder, and then we'll take him right here. We've got a good run. Let's get to the inside here, and there we go. Clint Boyer having a really good run as well, but once again, unfortunately, eliminated after the last race. So Dover needed to be the last race of round 1 for these guys, unfortunately. So We're racing against a lot of people that really don't matter in the Grand Championship sort of scheme. We've got the 24 of William Byron, the 78, and the 19. That is still in the playoffs as of now. The 20 of Eric Jones, unfortunately, is not, competing. Or is that the one of McMurray? Yeah, that's right. I'm used to the McDonald's Chevy, but the gear wrench Chevy is running solidly in the top 10 here, so a good run for McMurray. He is still in the playoffs. So if this is where McMurray can finish, then good on him. We're starting to really separate the cars behind us, and this lead pack is sort of breaking away. It looks like Brandon has gotten the lead, and he is pacing the field here in front of Denny Hamlin. Let's look to the outside of Boyer, carry this momentum to the outside. He can't get the throttle down as early as we can. We'll sail right on by on the straightaway. And we do have the tires left over, I think, to really make this outside line work. We haven't really been too punishing on the tires thus far, sort of just picking and choosing our battles as they come to us here. We'll get a good run on Truex and McMurray, and if McMurray can slow up Truex just a bit, that'll help us out. But I think we're catching Brandon still in the grand scheme of things. Definitely catching the cars in front, though. If we can work our way into the top 5 before pit stops, then that will be a pretty good run for us here. I think we'll be able to set up the 78 on the next turn. If we can't get him on the outside, we may be able to on the outside of that 5-hour Energy Toyota. Getting a good run there. We'll cut to the bottom and get under McMurray and get a twofer in that corner. Wash up just a little bit. We drove into one fairly hard to get under McMurray. But now we're going to settle in what looks like 5th place behind William Byron. And we've got Kyle Larson in front of us, who is still solidly in the playoffs. So now we're sorting the battle with the playoff drivers. Brandon obviously earned his spot in this round with the early win in Las Vegas. So he knew he was in from the first week. Let's get a good drive here on the 24. And around we go into 4th place. Tap the apron just a smidge. Now, unfortunately, unlike Phoenix, you can't really use the apron to turn better. I just overshot the corner just a touch. We'll try the outside line, see if we can get a run here, diamond the corner off, get that run down to the bottom, see if we can close up some ground on Larson. And we're still being very conservative with the tires. You can hear how early I'm rolling off here. We can get back to the gas really early, get under the 42 there, and all we have is Hamlin and Brandon. So put us up in 3rd place now before pit stops. We want to pit around lap 20, the halfway point of the race, to keep the freshest tires on us for the longest. I don't know if the AI is going to try to stretch 8 or so more laps out of it after the halfway mark, but we will see. Hopefully it will cycle through. The one bad thing about pitting halfway, and if no one else comes down, is the fact that if a yellow were to come out, we may be pinned a lap down, and there's no wave around rule here in NASCAR Racing 2003 season. We would just start in front of the leaders. We'd be on the lead lap, but they would be right behind us. So essentially we'd have to, make up a mile if we wanted to make up any spots. Looks like Brandon might be fighting a tight race car. I saw him sort of drift off of the middle groove there. And I think we're going to pit this time. We're coming to halfway here, so we'll be down the bottom. I'll see if I can close up some ground on Brandon here. 2,500 in 2nd gear is the limit, and there we go. So right on Brandon's back bumper, we made up a lot of track position here. We just need 4 tires and fuel, and we will be all set. Hopefully the yellow flag does not come out here. All right, boys, here we go. 4 tires and fuel, if you please. Right sides are on, no mistakes. We want the left sides on. Brandon's getting his rights on now. Drop, here we go. All right, down and away. Brandon should be getting his left side tires right there, but 2,500 in 2nd gear, it's like I want to get by him, but Brandon is down and away past the pit road scoring line. And you can see that first pit stall and that advantage. He could go as hard as he needed to out of his pit box and get up to speed. So we lost a little bit of that ground that we made up. But unfortunately for both of us, lap traffic will be a thing. So let's get up to 4th gear here. We'll have fresh rubber on the car, and we'll be able to pivot a whole lot better than these guys around the 75. We don't want to lose our momentum here. And if Brandon is stuck behind Chris Buescher there, he goes to the outside. DJ Kennington in the 96, and he's looking around the 43 of Bubba Wallace. He's sort of trapped there on the outside groove. We'll go the inside and then swing outside here just in case these guys decide to hit pit road. We do not want to rear end them. That'll set us up nice and easy for Matt Kenseth slash Trevor Bain slash whoever's in the 6th this week. Now, we don't want to go too hard. Brandon is on the exact same tires as we are, so if we burn up a lot of tires trying to catch him, that's not conducive to what we want to do. So we'll just sort of stay right here in his tire tracks, let Brandon make those passes around the lap cars. Around the 95 of Casey Kane, he thought about getting to the outside. And now we're free and clear on the racetrack for the time being, and Brandon is within a few car lengths. So overall, a great game. We should shake out 2nd place when pit stops are done, unless anyone decides to take a 2-tire strategy. But if 4 tires are the name of the game for everybody, then we should come out okay. We'll get under the 21. Unfortunately, that makes us wash up because we are so low on the racetrack on corner entry, but we're able to diamond the corner really quickly. Under the 20 of Eric Jones, and can we get under the 19 as well? We can indeed. Making short work of these lap cars, and there the Penske teammates are running side by side. Keselowski under Logano. So I'll stick to my strategy and let Brandon sort of make the move. There goes Brad into Joey. Jimmy's under us. I can't get too low. It looks like they both straightened out. They got into the wall, but the green flag stays out, no yellow, which that's going to help us cycle back. Cars are on pit road now, just in case the yellow were to come out. They would actually be entering a closed pit, which would be fascinating. Got a real good run here. And there is Hamlin. So essentially that was the battle for the lead right there. Once we pass Hamlin, we should be okay. And you can see the difference that new tires can make as far as the time they lost coming to pit road. Those few laps that we were out on fresh tires, we were able to extend that gap. So yeah, sitting pretty right behind Brandon. I really don't want to push the tires as of yet. I want to make sure we have enough tires for the end. And we are going to stretch the tires out pretty well. It may have been better in hindsight to stay out with the other guys, but I think it's better overall average time to split your run and be fast on average rather than really slow on the end. Oh wow, a couple cars battling side by side on the apron there. Than to give up all that time and then be fast for just a few laps. So I think overall we did the right thing, but it's just a question of, do we have enough tires for Brandon here? If Brandon makes a mistake or gets into some of these lappers, we might be able to pounce. In fact, that's what we did in the spring race here. Brandon got into, who was it? It was one of the lap cars, and we were able to take the victory. Looking for maybe something similar here. He's really putting pressure on Casey Kane. We'll go under the 48 and clear him. We'll be able to get to the outside here. And luckily these lappers are sort of single file, but they're not really giving us an inch. They're racing us just as hard as if we were for position here. So we'll get around Kane. Looks like Eric Jones is our next person to go either a lap down or an additional lap down. I'm not sure. We'll stick right here on the bottom, keep the air pinned on that left front fender. And we're not losing a whole lot of speed. We're doing a pretty decent job in keeping our tires under us. Brandon washes up the track just a bit. Let's lay down the throttle and see if we can gain, and indeed we can. Oh, I want to dive, but it's, I really don't want to take both of us out, and I don't know if it would stick. That was probably our opportunity. We might get another one here. Car is starting to wash up just a bit. There is some tightness coming into this race car, so if we were to dive bomb now, the car would definitely wash out, and it would be bad for both of us. You can see right there, struggling to hold the middle groove. We'll try to hold the bottom. Brandon might be fighting the exact same push that we're fighting here. He was able to really drive in, though, and get back to the power. I'm really focusing on hitting that bottom groove because if he washes out, I want to be able to get under him rather than follow him up the racetrack. We can sort of see that the tires have equalized. We are not catching the 20 of Eric Jones or the 18 of Kyle Busch. We're just sort of holding station, and this is pretty much as hard as I can go within the limits of the car without really washing up. We're almost got a corner on him. Now he's going to get back to the gas and really arc that in. And car is starting to wash up really bad now, having to put a lot of wheel into it. Car just does not want to turn or cut. Yeah, car's really starting to wash out now. It's really starting to become an issue. Brandon's able to hook the bottom just a touch there. Oh, come on, stay on the bottom. No, couldn't get to the gas in time. We're really washing out. Pretty equal cars as far as we're concerned, and it makes sense. We pit at the exact same time. And we pretty much ran the exact same strength through lap traffic, so I believe his car would be about where we're at. He's off the wall just a little bit. We'll see if we can hook the bottom, get a run here, back to the gas, but he was able to get to the gas a little bit earlier on that higher lane. It almost seems like we want to get to the bottom and then drift out, but that's only if the car wants to cut, and right now the car is not cutting. We'll keep our foot in it here, just a few laps to go. I'll try a higher line here, see if I can get that momentum off. And no, the car washed up into the wall. I tried. I tried to go where I thought it would be beneficial. We'll just hold the bottom and, oh, geez, we can't even hold the bottom anymore. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. He might get to these lap cars, but car is really washing out now. The car was just pushing like a dump truck, could not get power down. So unless something bad happens here, Brandon will get his 12th win of the year, one shy of Jeff Gordon and Richard Petty's record of 13. So there you go. We gave it an effort, but a second place for us. Overall, not a bad race. Let's go ahead and take a look at where some of our playoff drivers finished. So we finished second. Bowman finished 18th, but he is not in the playoffs. Suarez finishes 19th, which is interesting indeed. Casey Kane, there's Jimmy. Brad ended up finishing 24th after that run-in. Doesn't look like he had too much damage. Let's see, who else is in this thing? Larson finished 4th, so a nice solid run for Larson. William Byron finished 5th, so good run for William. Truex 6th. Brendan Gaughan 7th. Austin Dillon 8th. There's Ryan Blaney in 9th. Joey Logano finishes 35th, and that is going to hurt. Let's see, Chase finishes 11th. Harvick 12th. McMurray 13th. Kurt was eliminated. There's Kyle in 16th. A last few cars on the lead lap. Let's take a look then at that little dust-up between Brandon and the Penske guys. See, where was that here? Let's see how bad it actually was. So here we go. Brandon looking to the inside, just a touch scrape. Keselowski up, and he manages to keep it off the wall, not too awful bad. Logano looks like he had the worst end of the deal. So how hard did Logano hit, I wonder? So Logano up there. Here comes Brad and gets into the wall a bit and scrapes the outside. So the question is, did Joey pit after that lap? No, Joey decided to stay out. So he resumed the lead. He must have had a very long pit stop here. Trap behind the 75 into his box. Right sides were on, left sides were on, and there's the damage repair. And that was at 2 times normal speed, so about 6 or 7 seconds worth of damage, and that was enough to put him back a bit. So he was running 16th at the time, so that is definitely going to hurt Joey's chances. So let's take a look at the playoff bracket as it stands. Brandon has secured his position into the round of 8. Kyle Busch is your cutoff driver. McMurray 1 behind, Suarez 5 behind. And there's the Penske guys, 12 and 17 points behind, but only 3 to Ryan Blaney, 8 to Harvick. So Larson might be okay. We're definitely fine going into Talladega, but next week, Talladega, restrictor plate racing, one huge pack. Anything can happen, and these points can flip back in a moment's notice. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week for Talladega in NASCAR Racing 2003 season. Take care.